I make a lot of challenge videos, but most of them aren't actually unique to one specific team. Any team can rebuild just using academy players, any team can use storylines, and any team can win any trophy, but some teams are just built different in real life. It might be they have unique transfer policies, it might be where they're located, it might be who owns them, or it might be they have a unique reason just for existing. But with just a tiny bit of thinking, we can actually create some pretty unique challenges for our next FIFA Career Mode saves. I've said it before and I'll say it again 1,000 times, having a challenge makes your saves so much more fun. So that's why I've picked 5 clubs that I think have very unique challenges, or we can create challenges for them based on who they are, and then you can have a really cool FIFA Career Mode save. So let's start with the first one, and Cardiff City actually hold a very unique spot in football. They're the only club from a nation's capital city that competes in a different country's league system. Now some football nerds might be out there saying, what about Vaduz in Switzerland? Well, you would be right, but this is slightly different. While Vaduz are banned from becoming Swiss champions, Cardiff are fully allowed to win the Premier League. In fact, they have actually won the FA Cup, the only non-English team to do so. If you've not been paying attention to the Championship last year, Cardiff were actually relegated and are going to be plying their trade in League One next season. But despite this, I think they'll be back at the top pretty soon. They've been bouncing between the top 2 divisions over the past couple of decades, but the fans keep showing up even when they're relegated, and Cardiff are still the most supported club in Wales, way more than Wrexham and way more than Swansea. With the club in League One, you've now got a unique chance to make some radical changes. Sure, you could do something like Athletic Club in Bilbao, where you just try and get a fully Welsh squad or players with Welsh heritage, but I think it would be even cooler to go one further and try and make the entire Welsh national team play for Cardiff City in some form. Maybe they could be out on loan from you, maybe they'd be in your first team squad or in your reserves. Just trying to make the entire national team squad play for one club is something I don't think has ever been done before. Your first year in League One will probably be about as pumping as much money as you can into your academy, while also slowly transitioning any non-Welsh players that are in your squad. You have about 6 or 7 Welsh players in there already, and they are quite talented, and your squad will be good enough to win your promotion in Season 1 no matter what you do. But there are about 150 Welsh players you can pick from in a standard database. They're at all levels, there's some in the Champions League, there's some in League 2. It's going to be a really tough save to try and do, but also a really fun way to spend your last FC25 save, or maybe even your first save on FC26. Now, you probably knew that the second team in this video was going to be included. In fact, I've already mentioned their name in the Cardiff section. The next challenge is in North Spain and with Athletic Club, often called Athletic Bilbao. But what makes them so unique? Well, you probably know it already, but they can only recruit players born or trained in the Basque region. It's such a well-known part of the club, they actually have their own motto about the policy. With homegrown talent and local support, there is no need for an import. And this must be true, because Bilbao are one of only 3 teams to have never been relegated from La Liga, the other 2 being Barcelona and Real Madrid. Bilbao have had the Basque policy for over 110 years now, and I can promise that it is fun and possible to do it inside career mode, because I did 3 seasons of this save back on this channel in October. If you're confused what the Basque region even is, well, it's an area of Spain with its own culture. If you're English, you might associate people with Cornwall with their own culture. If you're French, probably people from Brittany. If you're from America, then maybe people from Louisiana. But the Basque region takes way more pride in keeping their culture independent from the Spanish. It's actually surprisingly easy to play with this restriction despite the Basque nationality not being in the game. That's because people over on FIFA are so good at making shortlists with every single Basque player in the game. I've linked 2 of the ones that I found in the description to this video if you are interested in doing it. As long as you only sign players from in the region and try and keep your academy players from just Spain and France, then I would say you've got a very unique situation where you're at an elite club that is actually hard to improve and win trophies from. Okay, let's go back to England and to Wycombe in Buckinghamshire. There's no unique culture in Buckinghamshire beyond owning a Fiat 500, but we can actually create our own unique challenge thanks to their owner. Wycombe Wanderers, a League One side, are actually owned by a half Kazakhstani and half Georgian tech billionaire. That means that they are rich. Their owner is from a very obscure part of the world and is also quite proud of his heritage. So let's combine these 3 things into a challenge that is fully unique to Wycombe Wanderers. What I've come up with is kind of far-fetched, but still very fun. Essentially, let's say that they're focusing all of their scouting and signings on players from Central Asia, specifically the ones that end in stan. So that's Pakistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and even Afghanistan. If it's in that region, then it's fair game for your academy and for your scouts. You might be thinking, are there really good enough players from these countries? Well, the short answer is definitely. The most famous one at the minute is Kusanov, who's at Manchester City, who's shown that he is Champions League level. Others probably could get by in the Premier League, a lot of them are Championship tier, and some of them probably would be at their max in League One. But by exploiting this untapped talent pool in your academy, Wycombe could definitely put together a squad that mixes some pretty old players with some exciting academy prospects with unique names that you've probably never seen, and you should be good enough to win promotion to the top division. From then, you have a rich owner, so who knows, maybe you could open it up to a few more nations. It's totally up to you, and I think that's a pretty unique challenge for one of the most underused clubs in FIFA Career Mode. While that Wycombe one was fake, if we go back to reality and head to East Denmark, FC Nordsjælland have turned heads by building a club that is 100% an academy and African talent pipeline. They're actually owned by Ghana's Right to Dream Academy. And every season, Nordsjælland boast one of the youngest average squads in the whole continent of Europe. Their model is simple but unique. Invest in the African youth, give them top tier European training, and also offer a clear path to first team football. What you get in return is a vibrant, fast-paced style of play with lots of youthful energy, and many of their players, especially the Ghanaians, come through a pan-African scouting network that is absolutely amazing at unearthing younger talents that other clubs often miss. I don't think there's a single other professional club in Europe that is owned by an African talent farm, so this is a very unique challenge that Nordsjælland give. Beyond football, Nordsjælland are very big on sustainability. They have a solar-powered training ground, they have eco-friendly initiatives, so it is kind of clear that this club wants to think about the future. The future is actually quite important, and I think with the right scouting and signings, a fully African team based just a few kilometers outside of Copenhagen could be challenging into the later rounds of the Europa League or getting out of the group stage in the Champions League within a couple of seasons. Okay, so last but definitely not least, let's talk about Ross County. I've never talked about these guys on this channel, but these guys are about as remote as it gets. Their home stadium in Dingwall in North Scotland is 100 miles from the nearest Scottish Premiership opponent, and in FIFA, they're actually the most northern club that the UK has ever had in the game. The Ross County Stadium is actually closer to Norway than it is to London, and it's also closer to Iceland than some of the islands on the south coast of England. This isolation is part of the challenge. Instead of holding them back, I think they should embrace it, aiming to build a Scandinavian and Scottish super club deep in the Highlands. They already scout Scandinavia quite a bit in real life, but imagine if the team to break the old firm's grip on Scotland was a bunch of Danes, Norsemen and Icelanders. It shouldn't actually be too hard to create a team that's tough to beat in their own backyard and also bring quite a unique mix of players to the pitch. There are 3 Scandinavian leagues in FIFA and 4 national teams that you can sign players from, which allow you to create a fully northern team, and that would be a super fun challenge. I don't actually think that a single team in the game has this kind of isolation from the rest of their league. Maybe there could be one in Turkey or China where they have a huge amount of land, but other clubs in Europe, definitely nothing like an 100-mile gap. So, that's it, my 5 clubs that I found that have very unique challenges inside FIFA Career Mode. I did mention that I'd done a series with Athletic Bilbao, and I'll try and link that to the end of this video if I can remember. You can probably see it on screen right now. Tell me about any of the clubs you think I've missed in the comments below, but thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.